Electric car chargers, I've reported them many times that they've been built in the United States at a very, very fast pace. But there's a lot of people that say, no, you're wrong. There's not enough of them. EVs were they're never going to be taken seriously because we don't have enough EV charging stations. If we do, they're broken. Here's the thing. Well, for one, Tesla chargers, we know, have a 99.9% usage rate. And what that means is basically what I'm trying to say. Tesla's chargers always work. So Tesla is the biggest charging network in the US, and we now know that the other charging networks are drastically improving their reliability. However, what isn't really known or wasn't really realized was just how many chargers were being built and just how quickly those chargers were being built. There is now 183,000 public EV chargers in America. That means that within the space of 3 years, the number has doubled. Now, if that doubles again, that becomes 366,000. If that doubles again, that becomes around about, 750,000. Getting pretty close to that number, right? Not far off it anyway. And that means that within the space of a few years, if the speed of deployment of chargers continues, we could see more chargers than gasoline pumps. But this obviously excludes the fact that you can, most people actually charge their electric cars at home. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Recharging an EV in the US is getting easier and easier on road trips or for apartment users who don't have access to their own charging, as more and more public charging stations are being installed all across America. Now, they're not being installed just at Tesla supercharger locations. Of course, there's heaps of other places, colleges, universities. There's also places like fast food joints. They're putting in their own charging stations to attract more customers. There's hotels, Hilton hotels. They're all putting them in. You know what the intriguing thing is here? It's because of economics. Now, I believe it's Hilton hotels. They signed a contract with Tesla to get all their charging or have the Tesla chargers at all of their hotel locations. And the reason is because when they actually marked on their website that yes, there was a charger at that location, they converted their bookings at a 50% higher ratio, which is massive. So they decided that it was a good idea to install chargers at all Hilton hotels simply because of economics. Now, according to the Joint Office of Energy and Transportation, the US now has over 183,000 publicly available charging ports. By the time you're seeing this video, couldn't be 184,000. I don't know. More than 13,000 were added over the last 3 months. Compared to January 2021, the number has doubled. But the largest number of public EV chargers in the US are level 2 plugs, 140,387. These need a 240 volt connection and can provide between 6 to 19 kilowatts of power. So these are the kind of locations where they would take about 4 to 8 hours to charge your electric car, depending on the size of your battery. But a lot of these chargers, most of them are at places where you would stay, right? You'd stay overnight, for example. DC fast charging stations amount to 43,166, 3 times fewer than level 2 plugs. But these are the most useful for long journeys. And for these kinds of chargers, they can normally charge at between, say, 100 kilowatts to up to 300 or even more than that, depending on the charging location. Electrify America have some at 350. And obviously Tesla is now building out some of their level 4 charging stations that have 350 kilowatt charging speeds as well, theoretically anyway. But here's the thing, all of this sounds great, and some people are saying this is not enough, this isn't good, and they're pointing out the negatives. Personally, I don't see it that way at all. And the reason I don't see it that way is because the Biden administration, the funding the Biden administration have provided to increase DC charging, to increase charges in America, most of it hasn't yet been used. So what that means is actually over the next 5 years, there is billions of dollars that have been allocated to installing more, in fact, 500,000 EV chargers between now and 2030. Meaning by 2030, there will be more than 640,000 DC chargers. And essentially, there's more than enough. That means there'll be more DC fast chargers than there would be gas stations in America. Now, keep in mind, a lot of gas stations will close down over the next 5 to 10 years as demand for gasoline goes down. Now, I know, but people think, EVs are not going to go, they're not going to sell that well in America. It's going to take a very, very long time for uptake. But keep in mind, technological innovation, periods of disruption, happen really fast. They happen quite slow at the start, but then it's a really, really fast uptake. For example, remember when we all had those crappy old Nokia phones with a million buttons on them, Blackberries as well? It took a very short period of time before people transitioned away from those old phones, which would be unimaginable back then, to smartphones without any buttons on them at all. Thanks for watching.